Let's say there's a young 21-year-old person who is about to start his or her investing journey. So आपके हिसाब से start कैसे करना चाहिए? स्टॉक्स में करना चाहिए, इंडेक्स फंड्स में करना चाहिए, म्यूचुअल फंड्स में करना चाहिए, कहाँ से सीखना चाहिए, क्या कर सकता है?
See, every young person is not the same. कोई आदमी है जो माने रिस्क टेकर नहीं है. There is nothing wrong. Someone can become an executive and become Satya Nadella after 20 years and then make his money out of stock option. So he will want fixed income, he wants a fixed salary. He can't go out. Like I have a lot of friends who went to IIM and then who went and worked for foreign banks, then they came out and then they built their business in the second phase of their life, which is also a valid way. So if you're that type of person who wants surety and safety in life, your approach will be different. If you're a person who is willing to devote full time to investing and to learning and reading, like at home my family laughs ki, like even Charlie Munger said, no, dad looks like a person who's a book with arms and legs attached. Because you have to be reading 5-6 hours a day, you have to be meeting people, you have to be willing to go out and explore. It's a different field, it's a non-active field, and yet you're alert and engaged all the time. So that person can come to the market and invest. If you're not that type of person, you're better off buying index fund, doing the systematic investment plan to build your wealth, and then work in a field which is in resonance with your own nature. Jesse I gave you the cricketer's example, same way, if you're meant to be working in the corporate world, or you're meant to be working in a startup world, or you're meant to even be in politics or sports or entertainment, by all means do it. But pay attention to building your wealth on the side. Pay attention to your health on the side and Sangat. Like I often talk because of our Flame University also where we are engaged, is ki if only we had taught personal finance as a core curriculum to everybody, it would have done a greater deal of good than people going through life. I meet CEOs who don't know how to deploy their money because वो basic skills ही नहीं है. फिर हम लोग जैसे later in life आके अपने आध्यात्म के बारे में सीखते हैं. Sorry. That if we could learn the spiritual bent of mind early in life, like in the school I went to, we had moral science as a subject, and that shaped my thinking. Right? Ramayana आपने पहले ही सीख लिया. So you are learning what are the do's, don't, because human history has not changed. So if you can get spiritual grounding, if you can get personal finance grounding, and you can get, I now consider Ayurveda some grounding, or what are the right do's and don'ts, you're on a good wicket. Then surround yourself with the right people. The life partner you choose is the single biggest decision in your life. Please spend time, get the right partner who complements you. It is, your Chinese में कहते हैं yin and yang. It has to be someone who's complementing you, and when you're flying, they can pull you down. When you're low, they can pull you up. And if you are typically what I call a task-oriented person, can your spouse then be what I call the person who looks after feelings and emotions, or vice versa? That complementarity of skills is what makes a great couple. फिर वो संस्कार आपके परिवार में, how can you spread attitude of what I call gratitude, being a giver, learner. Those are the core precepts. Then when you take your first exposure, are you going after the money? Are you going after the sector? Are you going after the brand? Or you should be going after the right mentor. So वो आपका इंटरव्यू कर रहा है, पर आप भी उसका इंटरव्यू कर रहे हो ना, और उससे वो केमिस्ट्री सीखने का अगर नहीं मिल रहा है तो आप क्यों जा रहे हो वहाँ पे? लाइक IIM में पब्लिश करते हैं ना, इसको 1 करोड़ का जॉब मिल गया. Why are you going there? If your learning is great, by all means go there. But there were places I remember when I was growing up, the best learning came from institutions like ICICI. Right? It was not the foreign bank. They just took you and put you to start selling marketing credit cards and so on. That's changed today, but that would be the first precept. Then if you have learned what your true nature is, am I risk taker, am I salaried guy, am I what I call a physicist working in a lab, whatever your nature is, be true to that and keep some time aside. It takes 3-4 hours every week to look at your personal finances. Even people in our industry, I find, don't look at their personal finances. उस पर आप टाइम डिवोट करोगे तो, एंड सी लर्निंग, द ग्रेट न्यूज़, इट इज़ क्यूमुलेटिव, इट इज़ कंपाउंडिंग. तो आप फ्रेमवर्क अगर जल्दी शुरू में कर लोगे एंड देन यू कीप टेस्टिंग, देन यू आर नॉट रनिंग अराउंड लुकिंग फॉर ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन. You have built a hypothesis and then you're testing, not for confirmation but also for what can change your hypothesis. Or wo attitude when you're meeting with people, when you're reading something like newspaper scanning. 35 years ago I would have ghoted the whole paper from beginning to end. Now I finish in 4 minutes because I know what I'm looking for. Also the quality has deteriorated, so that's another matter. But I think it's a collective thing. It's not, there's no one right thing in that.
I don't know why, but people of my age, at least I talk to a lot of people of my age, and then they tell me that, I mean, they don't read newspapers these days. Their content consumption has become more of, let's say, podcast or newsletters or YouTube. Like, they subscribe to their favorite creators. I don't know if that is becoming like the new media.
No,
I might be wrong.
It is new media. There's nothing.
वैसे
I
हो
mean,
रहा है.
my son also and my daughter-in-law, they also pretty much read it. They are pulling the content they want. The risk in that, and there are pros and cons to everything, is then you become an echo chamber. Like in social media, you find, जैसे आपके Netflix में होता है कि when you start watching something, it starts feeding you more and more of that only. Which means you don't hear the other side at all. Now, I'm not saying the newspapers are right either, because newspapers have traditionally been very, very left of center. They feed you a lot of that left liberal stuff. And maybe it was in response that people are going to look for things which are a lot more on the right. But someone who's curating it is sometimes better because you get other side of the equation. And ये problem हो गया है दुनिया में because of both this kind of media becoming so left-leaning and social media which has become echo chamber. You see now the politics in every country is so starkly divided. और दुश्मनी हो गया एक दूसरे से. Like US में आप देखो डेमोक्रेट एंड कंजर्वेटिव उनके परिवार में झगड़ा होता है अगर if you know they are like that. You see the same thing has played out in UK, in Germany, in France. It's playing out in our country as we speak also, that there are just such stark divides. Otherwise, like I said, in our community we all sit together. No, I may not like a stock, but doesn't mean I hate you. I can have a difference of opinion, and the pluralism of India, which is the core of our culture, is in some form being lost because of this. So some form of what I call teaching history in our schools, because very, very narrow history which we were taught, that has to come. This form of a more sort of rounded media has to come. These kinds of podcasts where you're getting different opinions at least coming out are of use. But that daily में जो जैसे पेपर खोलते हैं, I also agree. You read about politics and rape and murder. You start your day with that, or you end the day by watching that news. It's terrible for your mind because you're putting garbage inside. So I might, skip that, go to my business page and sports page, and
If you learned something new from this video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel so that we can bring you the best content possible. Also, if you want to watch this entire episode, click on the link in the description box and you can go to Kushal Lodha YouTube channel and watch the entire podcast episode. Thank you so much for watching this and have an amazing day.